WWE star returns from injury to cost Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez at SNME. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Elena. Have a nice day. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. A WWE star's return cost Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez their match at SNME. Morgan and Perez were set to take on current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Rhea Ripley and anoa'i for the tag titles at SNME. The two teams have been at loggerheads for some time now, and Morgan has been pursuing the titles ever since she made her return. The bout started with momentum initially swinging between both teams, but Morgan and the Prodigy managed to isolate Sky and beat her down and looked to achieve a one-sided victory. However, the situation changed when Sky, after taking a ton of punishment, managed to make the hot tag to the Eradicator, who completely swung the momentum in her favor. But despite this, it seemed that Morgan and Perez would secure the win thanks to an assist. Interference by Judgment Day, members leads to WWE stars return and loss for Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Rhea Ripley dominated the proceedings and managed to get the Prodigy into the Riptide. She had tagged Sky in before making the move, who hit Perez with a moonsault for the pin. However, just as the referee was counting to 3, Raquel Rodriguez made an appearance and dragged Ripley, who collapsed on the referee, taking him out. Rodriguez then took advantage of the situation and took out the champs, and it seemed like a victory for the Judgment Day. However, before anything could happen, proceedings were interrupted by Stephanie Vacker's return. La Primera had been taken out on the January 12th episode of Raw by Rodriguez and had revenge on her mind. The Women's World Champion beat down Rodriguez and leveled the odds, which helped Rhea secure the victory. Fans were happy to see that La Primera made her return in a short amount of time, and it remains to be seen how her story with Raquel Rodriguez is taken forward. Rhea. Ripley fires brutal shot at Liv Morgan. Before WWE Raw celebrations are in order for Rhea Ripley and Sky. At Saturday night's main event on January 24, the Women's Tag Team Champions defeated the Judgment Day's Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez to retain their titles. The bout itself was not short of a few hard hits from competitors in both teams, which made it highly entertaining. Sky, as usual, stuck to the aerial approach, whereas Ripley kept the action on the mat. On their part, Morgan and Perez inflicted their share of damage, especially on the Japanese superstar. In the closing minutes, Raquel Rodriguez, too, made her presence felt by the ringside when she caused a pinfall break by dropping Rhea Ripley on the referee. This led to WWE Women's World Champion Stephanie Vacker coming out and neutralizing Rodriguez with a flurry of attacks. Meanwhile, Liv Morgan managed to hit the Oblivion on Sky, but Ripley cheekily tagged herself in. She hit the 33-year-old with the Riptide for the finish. Rhea Ripley takes a brutal dig at Liv Morgan. On the eve of Monday Night Raw, Rhea Ripley took to X to take a shot at Liv Morgan, whom she pinned at Saturday night's main event. Sharing a picture of her final pinfall, she captioned it, "Her caption is, in reference to the way she folds her opponents while pinning them, which is often called a pretzel pin." This time around, however, Ripley has decided to liken her pinfall on Morgan to a crepe because she looked like a pancake under her Rhea Ripley, and Sky will defend their titles next against Julia and Kiana James, who won a 3-way tag team match on SmackDown to become the #1 contenders. Chaos and comebacks define women's tag title clash at SNME. The match between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez at SNME suffered from the return of a WWE star. Click here and know all about it. The match between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez at SNME suffered from the return of a WWE star. Morgan and Perez were scheduled to compete against WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Rhea Ripley and Iyo Sky for the tag titles at SNME. The two teams have been at loggerheads for some time now, and Morgan has been pursuing the titles ever since she made her return. Morgan and Perez dominate early before Ripley turns the tide. The match began with both teams exchanging control until Morgan and the Prodigy succeeded in isolating Sky to defeat her, which they used to pursue an easy victory. The fight changed when Sky, after enduring severe damage, successfully executed a hot tag to the Eradicator, who took complete control of the match. The match appeared to end with Morgan and Perez winning after receiving an assist. Chaos erupts, just as Ripley and Sky appear set for victory. Rhea Ripley controlled the match and performed the Riptide move on the Prodigy. Iyo Sky had been tagged in by her before she executed the move, which she used to defeat Perez with a moonsault for the victory. The referee was about to count to 3 when Raquel Rodriguez entered the scene and pulled Ripley, who fell onto the referee, which caused him to be disabled. Retribution arrives as Stephanie Vaquer disrupts Rodriguez. Rodriguez used the circumstances to defeat the champions, while the Judgment Day team appeared to win until Stephanie Vaquer interrupted the match. La Primera had been taken out on the January 12th episode of Raw by Rodriguez and had revenge on her mind. Fans celebrate Vaquer's return as Regio emerged victorious. The Women's World Champion defeated Rodriguez to create an equal match, which enabled Regio to win the fight. Fans were pleased to witness La Primera return after a brief period away from the sport. But they must now wait to see how her storyline with Raquel Rodriguez